Oh no, now the knee. Well, that was it. Manu, what's he done there? He's sold the dummy with a knee injury. It's a fake knee injury. That is set up a try for Momirovski.
It's the next tackle. He gets an offload. He goes back and gets the football. Probably feels a cramp coming on in the back of his calf. And then just takes off.
Oh, what a beauty. So, you pick which has been the better moment. The bloke kicking the ball back from the traffic at the southern end, or Manu, the cramp, the fibber, and takes off to set up a try.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Tragics podcast. I'm your host tonight, Glenn. Dan's not with us tonight. He's a busy man. And we're joined tonight by Ross from Off the Bench. How you going, Roscoe?
Yeah, not too bad.
How'd your week go, mate?
It was all right. I got 12-13. Moved up about 700 spots, but could have been better. I opted to not loop SJ's 112, which came back to bite me on the bottom because I captained Reece Walsh after I only just traded him in last week. But that's just turned into even worse for me now. And unfortunately, now I've got to trade him back out again.
Geez, you would have been howling that, Graham, the amount of times he looked like he was going to get points.
Well, he had that try disallowed where Fafita milked that obstruction, and all he had to do was probably run it towards the corner. There was a couple of plays there. He was very close to turning up that game, and now he's been suspended. So it's a right wide kick in the backside for me. It's a trade that I didn't want to have to make. But, when I got Gutho and Walsh as my fullback, so I'm not running without a fullback this week, so someone has to go.
Walsh and who?
Walsh and Gutho.
Oh, right. And so you're getting drink, or I will talk about trades later on.
Yeah.
All right. So quickly, I'll just talk about our Supercoach Tragics overall. Here comes the Bears, still in the lead, blitzing it. I'm sorry, guys, I can't remember who's coming second and third, but I'll make sure we do that next week. That's usually Dan's area. And what I'll just quickly do before we start our pod, I'll just run over the trade outs, which is Schuster, Walsh, Taruva, Hoskins, Billy Smith, Nikorima, Edwards, Tedesco, and Buller. Is there any on there, Ross, that you just heard me say that you wouldn't be selling?
Nikorima's a hard one because there's talk that he's going to play fullback this week, but the problem is unless they updating the teams on Friday night when they 24 hours before that he's going to be named at fullback, it's a hard one to. It depends on who you're trading him to, as well. I mean, it really depends. If he's playing fullback and he's starting, early enough, and you're not trading to a gun, then I'll probably hang on to him for another week just to see how he goes.
Well, yeah, but he does play in the bye round, which makes him interesting.
Correct, exactly. But then we don't know what happens round 19 if he goes back, if he stays at fullback, or what happens. We just don't know that.
Yeah, well, Hammer's likely out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. The other ones I think are all pretty much okay with me. I mean, all sort of. I know Garrick was fighting on that list at one stage. I'm not sure if I don't think he's in the top 10 anymore, but he was there somewhere. But I think the rest of them all pretty much make sense to me.
Yeah, well, I own Cody Nikorima, and I'm actually going to Grant. Grant's got a break even at 30. And look, I wasn't going to do it. I was going to hold Nikorima right up until after the bye and then switch to Grant. But Cody Nikorima's break even's quite high, and he's on the decline. And the other thing is, I've actually got 20 players for that round. If I include Mole and Nikorima and Perham, who I'm selling 2 of the round 19 players, which will bring me to 17. But the other one that I actually find interesting on him, mate, is Taruva. I actually see Taruva as a keeper. It's a ceiling side, and I actually feel that Taruva is someone that you might want on the run home. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do. I think, he had Peachy outside him, and Peachy doesn't pass to him, as we know. I mean, it was great for me as an owner for Peachy. I mean, I wasn't complaining, but I think we've created back in the team. I think it might make a difference. I don't think he's an urgent sell, but it depends if you need the numbers to round 19 either, as well, because he's not going to play 19. If you've got the numbers and you're playing over and you're playing head to head, I wouldn't be trading him out. It really depends on who you're going to go to. I mean, again, if you're going to go to another gun, then I don't see a drama with it. It really depends on who they're going to go to, whether they're going to Jewels, or they're going to a CNK or DWZ, or they're going to Drinky via Jewels. I mean, it really depends. I mean, without knowing who they're trading him to, it's hard to say. I mean, really.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a priority trade out though.
Yeah. I agree. I think you made a good point, though. I mean, the centres in Penrith, all of them, Targo, Critter, and Peachy, they don't like to pass.
Yeah.
And but Taruva's base is one of the best for a centre wing. He's got really good base, and I believe in that side they've got the ceiling as well. Especially while Cleary's out, I think that they play left more. But anyway, they're the two that I agree with you on. The other way we'll go is just quickly. I'll mention the trade in. So Cameron Munster, Britton Nakora, Mulatalo, Pia Cora, Dylan Edwards, Drinkwater, Holmes, Fafita, Howarth, and Hines. Look, every one of them I agree with. Howarth, I would imagine they're nothing.
I think it's too early to be nothing. Still,
I agree.
I just think with buys every week, especially with 3 buys still to come around 19, just think it's a bit early. I agree probably with all those trade-ins. They all make sense. I think Pikura is an interesting one, even though he doesn't play around 19.
Yeah.
He's one that I'm looking at potentially bringing in as a downgrade for Peachy to bank some cash.
Yeah.
Because it'll bank me about like nearly 300k or something ridiculous by doing that trade.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already set for round 19. I've already got like 16 players already, so I'm pretty much set for like you for round 19.
Nice.
Who was the other one on there that I was going to mention about? Cam Munster's an interesting one for me, Glenn.
Yeah.
Good price, but they play Penrith this week, and then he's got Origin.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be waiting.
But in saying that again, if you're going Schuster to him or someone else, then it makes sense. I think Schuster to Munster's a beautiful trade this week if you can do that.
I imagine a lot of people that had Dylan Brown possibly punting him over to.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how many more will hang on to him, but 5'8's pretty much a mud position at the moment, really. I've got Schuster and Katawa there at the moment. It's pretty horrible for me.
Yeah.
I was just never keen on Manu or Ponga or anyone like that. I'm just hanging on to those two and wait until after Origin and then jump on Munster straight after Origin.
Yeah, well, I like Piakura too. I was actually thinking of Schuster to Piakura for me. I've got a pretty good second rows, but my only bad one is Schuster, and to Piakura, I didn't mind it. But I can understand people going Howarth if they're trying to get to Fafita, but I agree with you, what you said earlier. I don't think it's time yet to enough. And even in a season where we've got buys every round, I mean, I've got Gutho, Maddo, Hopgood on the bench this week, and I imagine people have got Moses in that and possibly Sebo as well.
Correct.
And it's going to happen all the way home with buys, and you're going to find yourself at different times where you're needing numbers, and you don't want an extra less number on the bench.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there's a lot of teams on the bye next week. What have you got? About probably 7 teams on the bye next week, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, that's right. There's quite a few.
So
the buys, just for people to know, the Sharks, Dragons, Warriors, Rabbits, Raiders, Titans, Tigers, Dolphins, Bulldogs, and the Eels are the sides that are playing next week.
Yeah.
So just so we know. So all right, we'll start with the first game, Roscoe. We're going to get through the pod pretty quick tonight, guys. And we'll start with the Sharks and Dragons. I think there's a lot to like in this game, mate. So who do you like in here?
I've got Hines, and I've got Mulatalo in this one. Sorry, not Mulatalo. I've got Talakai as well. Again, we say it every single week. I think, especially for this matchup, you can pretty much go anywhere in the whole back line. I really like Teague Wilton.
Yep.
Obviously, Nikora is highly traded in this week as well. There's a lot to like for this game. Not for the Dragons, of course. There's just no one for the Dragons except for maybe Jack DeBellin. Probably the only one for me that's worth going for the Dragons. But the Sharks, I mean, I wouldn't hold it against anyone who's going to catch straight out captain Nico in this game either. Especially if you've got a couple of Dadaes thinking it up on your thing there. So, I don't know. I was going to straight captain Hines, but now that I'm probably bringing drink in, I think I'll just play it safe, just in case Hines doesn't have one of his off games.
Okay.
And I've got good backup as well. So
yeah, I already own Nikora and I own Hines, and I'm bringing in Mulatalo myself this weekend. I'm going Perrin to Mulatalo.
I'm really scared not owning Mulatalo this week. I've just got a feeling that he's been so close to turning up the last couple of games, and I've just got a feeling this could be anything this game.
Well, I do like Talakai as a pod, though, Ross. I think, especially in this particular game, I think he could play well for you.
But he's another one that doesn't really like to pass the ball too much either, so I don't mind that as an owner either. So.
No, and he's got good base.
Yeah, no, he does, and he gets a lot of tackle bust and line breaks and stuff. He just can be a bit lazy sometimes too, though. That's the only thing. But Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll hang on to him for. I don't know if he's a keeper till the end, but we'll keep it on the next couple of weeks and see how he goes.
Yeah, well, the trades that I'm trying to make, I'm going Grant and I'm going Mulatalo. I'm trying to work towards the only trades I make now are keepers or trade down to get to keepers. That's sort of the play that I'm sort of doing. All right, I agree with you on all that. I think anyone in that back line is a great buy. You know, Katoa, Ramian, Talakai. I like Mulatalo specifically.
Yeah.
I do like Teague Wilton. I agree with you on that. And Nikora. I think both of them. Teague Wilton's been having a great season.
Yeah.
And Matt Moylan's been putting that nice little ball through to him, and he comes back in. I just think that I really do. I like Wilton. I think he's good.
I think Will Kennedy's a bit not spoken about at the moment either.
Yep.
Not sure why. Obviously, he hasn't got probably not as good as like a Dylan Edwards or anyone like that. I know Edwards is on the highly traded on the list this week, but I don't mind Kennedy for someone looking a bit of a smoky pod.
Yeah,
he was one I was looking at maybe over Drinky, but I just think Drinky against the Tigers this week, the way he's been going, I'm just too scared not to own him this week.
Yeah, based on the matchup and the fact that they play round 19, and if you're a Walsh Cutho owner, Drinkwater or Kennedy, I think is a good shout. I actually don't mind the Kennedy shout. They played the Tigers in the next game.
Correct.
So two relatively good matchups in a row. So I don't hate that. But the only thing I have on that is Kennedy a keeper?
Well, that's the thing too, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, we've been hit by bloody injuries with the fullbacks. They've got Walsh suspended 3 weeks. We've got Teddy, who's in no form whatsoever. We've got Turbo, who's out for the season. We've got Trell not due back till round 21, 22. I've had Gutho since like round 11 or round 10, and I wasn't planning on keeping him till the end, but I think the way he's going at the moment, he's probably going to stay in my team all season. He's just absolutely killing it at the moment, Gutho. He really is.
I agree.
So
yeah, Gutho's staying in my.
But I'm not sure whether Drinky's a keeper or not. But I'm going to bring him in, and we'll just see what happens. What's the worst can happen?
One could argue that Will Kennedy points per dollar is actually better value than Drinkwater based on the matchups. But look, I like Drinkwater. I think Drinkwater's the X factor in that side, and they are scoring good points. And we'll get to that game. The Warriors versus the Rabbits. There's some interesting ones in here. I mean, the Rabbits are a completely different side without Latrell Mitchell, and so their attack's not quite as flash as what they are with Latrell in the side. And the Warriors are just on the rise. I mean, I said and you said at the start of the season they bought best out of any side.
Definitely.
They bought really well, and they're just strong all over. So who would you bring in from this side, Ross? We'll start with the Warriors, mate.
Okay, so I've got Tohu Harris. And my trades before Walsh got suspended originally was I was going to upgrade Adam Elliott because I don't know why I bought him, but I did. I was going to upgrade him to AFB.
Right.
And then I was going to bring in Pakura as a downgrade and bank another 250k. Right. But now that Walsh is out, that's thrown everything out the window. I still think AFB is a good buy this week. I see a lot of people jumping on DWZ and CNK, but I just don't see them being as keepers. And at 700k, I just think that there's better options out there. I'd be getting like a Val or someone like that who's just going to be a keeper till the end. It feels like it's points chasing to me. I think CNK was probably a buy about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I think DWZ is probably about the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get they've got low break evens and they're averaging well, but can they keep going? I mean, the Warriors are playing such good football at the moment, though. Like,
I agree.
Geez, I'd love to see them finish in the top 4 this year and have a real crack at it. I just think that they've got the side there to do it. I'm a bit iffy on their halves up with Metcalf, but SJ's just probably in his best form of his career this year. So
I actually rate Metcalf, and I think, but you're right. I think it hinges on Sean Johnson.
Yeah.
Sean Johnson stays fit; they're a good chance. I agree with you as well. I think Charles Nicoll-Klokstad is a great player and was a great buy if you bought him 3 or 4 weeks ago. At that point, points per dollar, he's not the value nor is.
I'm just dirty because when we did our round 13 pod, I said I still think CNK is a buy. He was only about 450k back then, and I didn't do it, and I got laughed at. Everyone's like, "Oh no, he can't keep going," and now he's sitting at something like 650 or 700k or ridiculous. Like he just keeps going. It's just, I don't know. He's just surpassed me big time this year. I just didn't think it had the base in him, and he's got everything. He's in everything. He really is.
Well, their draw gets a lot harder from here on as
That's
well.
what I mean. It's just hard to jump on.
That's
If I was
right.
going to get on anyone, probably just AFB at now, and that's it. I got Australia last week or the week before. I was pretty happy about that, but
Yeah, AFB.
yeah, I don't think there's anywhere else. I mean, for me, I think Tohu's probably selling a couple of weeks away. He's going too.
Yeah,
He's probably looking at the sell teamed up to Tino or someone like that after Origin.
I
So,
would agree.
yeah,
100%.
he's
I'm
just
not a
not
fan of
scoring.
Tohu.
I don't know. You watch the games too. He's playing as another ball maker at the moment. He
Yeah.
stands there. He's like a gerbo. Just turns around, passes the ball. Doesn't really make many hit ups or anything anymore.
That's right. He makes a lot of tackles, but his actual runs are more decoy runs and playing like a middle. You know, like more like a Yo and a Murray.
That's right. And you know, 50 odd points last week, and I think 40 of those were in tackles. So
yeah, the one player I would warn people on to not buy this round is Curran. He's a trap. There's a lot of people I've seen that are jumping on Curran. I've had messages about Curran. Curran will stay there for a very short time, and then he'll go straight back to the bench, guys. So just don't do that.
For South, I don't mind Richie Kenner. I still think he's a decent buy at a reasonable price. He pumped out at 60 odd last week in base in a team that got flogged. Cam Murray is an interesting one to look at after Origin. He's very cheap now. He's like 550k. You'll never get him that cheap again.
Yeah.
It still worries me about the way he's playing. I was watching his game on the weekend, and what happened to him? He went off with a HIA, and then he came back on, and he missed a crucial tackle in that game.
Yeah.
I think they ended up booking him off again or something. Maybe I can't remember, but he's just not. He's not having a great season.
Yeah, he stripped the ball out and caught the penalty, and then they pulled him straight up after that.
Correct. I don't know. There's something about him this year. I don't know. He was getting attacking stats for fun last year, and this year he's not getting anything. It's very disappointing, but I just still think he's one to watch.
I agree. I think Latrell comes back into that side. It makes Murray and other players look more enticing. Like
the only problem is that with that is Latrell doesn't come back until round 21, and they've still got a buy after that too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So it's hard to really jump on any South players at the moment, really. So,
the one that I like is Kaloa Matangi, but I don't know if I'd be buying him this round based on the fact that he's a big chance to get caught in that New South Wales side.
Who knows what's going to happen? There's a couple of ones. There's another one coming up in a game shortly that we'll talk about in a minute. That's another chance too. So
I own both.
Yeah,
I own Kaloa Matangi. All right, we'll get to the Storm Panthers game. So neither of these sides play in round 19, but there are players in here that I think are of interest. So we'll get to your thoughts on it first, mate. Storm first.
Obviously Munster is one that I really like. It's a hard matchup. That's the only thing. Like they're both pretty defensive teams. I really like Critter as a bit of an option, but the problem is that he won't get the goal kicking. If Cleary's, God knows when Cleary's back, like next week or the week after.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a buy. I don't mind Targo if he dropped a bit more in price. Tottle's, consistent as usual. If he can drop down a bit, there's definitely options there. I just don't know if I'll be jumping on any of them this week other than maybe Munster.
Or Grant. I mean, I'm jumping on Grant.
Or Grant as well. Yeah, he's another one. But even then, he only pumped out a 40 on the weekend or something too. So he didn't have a great game either.
Post Origin Blues, you kind of expect that. Grant, we all know he's a keeper, and I mean, the thing that's good about Grant is that he's actually better in the tougher games. He'll do more tackles in the middle against a side like Penrith. And so I just see more for Grant in that side. And he's also got a break even of 30. So that's the reason for jumping this round from Nikorima. But I agree with you, Roscoe. I wouldn't be jumping on anyone now. I would wait until after the Origins happened. And then Penrith and Melbourne are both ceiling sides. So if you want to look for players then after the Origin, that's the time to jump on them. And both their draws get prettier. They've got sort of ups and downs, both their draws. But some nice matchups there. All right, we'll go to Raiders and Titans, mate.
Raiders and Titans. Another interesting one because I think for those looking at Horse, I think he's pretty much locked in for Origin now with Flegler out.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't already had that phone call from Slater saying he's in the team. So it could be another loss for those who've got him, but obviously, he doesn't play round 19 anyway, so I guess it doesn't really affect too much.
Yeah.
for the Raiders, there's been a bit. I've seen a few people jumping on Timoko because he's cheap. I don't like it at all.
No, I don't
I
either.
just don't like it. He's not getting much ball at the moment. For the Titans, Tino, again, good buy. I don't know if I'd trade him in this week, this close to Origin.
Yep.
Especially if they're looking at maybe potentially resting him again after round 9, after next Origin. Brian Kelly's an interesting one for me. We spoke about him on the off the bench pod. Quite expensive, but has decent base.
Yeah, he does.
Other than that, I think there's nothing else. No one else I can think of from this team that I'd probably look at. I mean, Tarpany's not a bad price at the moment, but again, doesn't play 19.
And you also got to keep in mind that David Fifita and Tino will be out for Origin, which means that they'll be severely weakened, in my opinion, of in defence and in attack with those two players out. So I don't see anything from either of those sides that I would buy. And I would not be selling Horse, even though people are.
No.
Yeah, at playing at lock, I just think he's a hold, in my opinion, especially to play through front row or, I've got Tarpany Horse at the moment, but I'll be taking Tarpany up to Haas, but I'll be holding Horse pretty much. The next one's interesting. So we've got the Cowboys and the Tigers. The Cowboys don't play in the bye round, but a lot of people are jumping on a couple of players from the Cows, and I don't hate it.
Yeah, I've always said I'm pretty stacked up for round 19 already, and I really would have loved to have got both Drinky and Val in for this game.
Yep.
Obviously going to get Drinky, but I'm a bit scared not owning Val though. This could be a reversal of what we put on them last game, Glenn.
Yeah.
Just the way the Cowboys are playing, it's at Townsville. It's a scary prospect. I know. One thing I'm going to mention is I don't understand why people are trading out Buller this week. If you're going to trade him out, last week was the week to do it, not this week. He plays the all-important round 19 bye next week. I wouldn't be selling him. Is there anyone else from the Cowboys that jump on? Nanai starting to drop nicely in price. I noticed too. He's about 530k.
Yeah.
He could be another one to keep an eye on. He got an 84 on the weekend.
Yeah.
There's just so many feet. Now see the feet of the Cowboys. That's the only thing. Talamalo's hanging around there on the bench.
Yeah.
Extend the bench too. So, but I do definitely like Drinky and Vallow. Yeah,
I agree with you on Nanai. I think he's one where you wait to round 20. Again, Nanai, he is coming to a nice price. I do like the Drinkwater shout. I mean, I actually made a choice last week. Do I go Buller or Walker? And I went Cody Walker instead of going to Walsh. And for once, I missed the carnage. I mean, that's the first time this season I've missed it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I was toyed to go Drinky last week, and I wish I had. I really wish I'd gone. I just had a feeling that. I just looked at the draw moving forward, and I think Broncos have got a good draw running home.
Yeah.
And then I sat there and I'm going, geez, do I cut them all? Do I not? I can sit there. I've got SJ there. I can loop him. 112 points in the bank. I've got an AE of 20. Nah, I'm not happy with that. So I just wrote it, and it was probably a big mistake because it probably cost me over 100 points. So
you reckon it's too late for people to jump on Bateman, mate?
Oh, no, I don't. And I think IPAP's, if anything, I probably actually think IPAP's probably the better buy this week.
Me too.
I needed a mid sort of range second row forward for this round, and I've actually jumped on IPAP this week myself.
Yeah.
But I'm contemplating going to Pecora instead, just because I've already got the numbers and I want to bank some cash.
Yeah.
So that way, in 2 weeks' time, I can go Tohu to Tino. Just not sure yet though. But IPAP's not going too bad. He's only about 530k or 540, so he's a good price too.
Yeah, I actually like the iPipe shout. I've had a few people ask me about Sean Bloor. I wouldn't be doing that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I wouldn't be going there. I just don't trust them with the forwards. He hasn't been in the team for most of the season.
That's
He's
right.
either been on the bench playing bugger all minutes or playing in New South Wales Cup. So
absolutely, watch and see.
Yeah. I think it's definitely wait and see. I think people just saw his score in round 16 or whatever it was, just round 17, just gone all day. Eyes just opened right up. So,
I still have Stefano as well on the bench. He's been quite helpful for me through the season. I was sort of counting him on the last bye as well, but he got called up to Origin. I don't see him backing up in the next Origin match, but we'll see.
It depends if they pick him too, eh? I wish he gets picked again. I mean, they only played him 18 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it seemed a bit of another waste of a bench spot. You know, TPJ playing bugger all minutes and him coming in and playing 18 minutes. It's not. We could talk about this for hours. The fact that Freddie left, you know, Cam Murray on the bench for the whole of the first half. Just, I don't know.
You know, and come out with the excuse about his groin. Like if his groin wasn't up to playing 80 minutes,
Yeah, he shouldn't have been picked in the team.
That's right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
correct.
Especially when you've got players like Olakawatu, Kaloa Matangi,
Yep.
Matto, all that didn't get picked. You know, who are
There's plenty of options to go with.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get to the Broncos and the Dolphins. Look, the Dolphins been the surprise package of the year, but they still aren't a great super coach side, apart from Osaka, of course. And the Broncos, though, they are a side on the rise. And I tell you what, had Hunt had made that side, I would have been straight on to Herbie Farnsworth, because he'd been on Hunt's side, and if he did get that other half spot, it would have been interesting. I just think that he would have made them a better sire. But what I'm going to ask you is, who do you think goes into fullback for Walshy?
Oh, that'll be Tristan Saylor.
Oh, of course.
They've already said that Tristan Saylor will be the man to do it. Yeah. So
I don't know how I missed that. I mean,
will that kill the Broncos' attack? I don't know.
Well,
yeah, I just don't know why they didn't give Herbie a crack at fullback or someone else. I'm not too sure. Even Cobbo a crack at fullback. Taylor did look good the game he played. I think it was round 13 when Walsh was out with Origin. I think it might have been. So he didn't look too bad. But
I think the two forwards are a bigger loss, Ross.
Oh, massive, mate. Jordan Ricky and Blakler are massive losses for them. I mean, you've got Xavier Wilson and oh gosh, I've got him in my team.
Nick.
Was it? Palacia. Palacia comes in as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And Palacia comes in. I know, but Picora was already in the team last week, but Palacia comes in the front row for Flegler.
That's right, yeah. So losing and Jordan Ricky and then Reece Walsh. So Reece Walsh offers their X factor, but the X factor is only as good as the forwards later platform. And the fact that they've lost those two forwards says to me, with Walsh out as well, they could struggle in this game. I still think they win this game, but I don't see anyone as a buy personally. Do you? Or Carrigan could be interesting. He's been named.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but I wouldn't be buying him this week with Origin next around the corner. But
and doesn't play 9.
I still think, coaching against Wayne Bennett, I think the Dolphins will turn up for this one. Not sure if the Dolphins can get the win, but I think it won't be a flogging like last week against Parramatta. Yeah. For those with Faray or looking to buy and bring in Faray, I would suggest I wouldn't do it, because with Cody Nikorima going fullback, pushing Hammer to the centres, so Faray will be the one who'll probably drop out. I've still got Hammer and I've still got Osako. Am I happy with Hammer moving to the centres? No, I'm not, because he's not going to score as well there. So it's another bit of a kick in the guts for me with him moving to centres if it happens. So
Nikorima got found out last week. They targeted Nikorima all game to the point where they, he was a real issue. I mean, he's a high octane player and he's got good attacking stats. Like he's a good ball player, but he really struggles in defence. And you add Katoa into that as well. And I think Katoa is a better defender than he is, so I think that's why he's retained his spot. I do like Sean O'Sullivan in that side, but again, there's nothing in here of interest to buy. Most people that own Fidel, I'd hold maybe for the buy round, of course, and Osako for the same reason.
Yeah, one of them will probably go to Val for me after Origin, after round 19.
Yeah.
So either Hammer or Osako. Osako's an interesting hold, though, I think, because he still averages well, still scores well in a flogging.
Yeah, he does.
So one of them will probably go. But then again, when we get to the last game, we'll talk about Garrick as well, because he's another one that's interesting for me.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get there. All right, so we're up to the next game. It's the Bulldogs versus the Knights. And as anyone knows, there was a false post put out this week about Hayes Perham going to Manly, effective immediately. It was dodgy, as dodgy as what happens out in the Supercoach world this time of year. I actually own Hayes Perham. I've owned him as a bit of a pod. People kind of don't get that, but he's actually had some really nice scores. He's averaging 61 or 62, I think it was. But I'm moving him on this week. So the Bulldogs do play the bye round, mate. Do you see anyone in that side that you would bring in? And just interestingly, Curtis Moran's been named at 13 too.
There's no one for me for the Dogs at all.
Yeah. I
You know, if you've got Preston, obviously you hold on to him.
Yeah.
But he's probably a sell after round 19, Preston, I reckon too. For the Knights, no one. You know, if you still got Marzu, he could go big this game, Marzu, against the Dogs.
Yeah.
And Gagai is obviously out this game too. So
I
know a few people jumped on Gagai the last couple of weeks, and now he's out this week, and we're not sure how long he's actually going to be out for with an injury. Some foot injury he's got. So
that's right.
I don't know if that's going to be a week-to-week thing or what's going to happen with that. So, but there's no one that springs out for me for this game at all.
Well, Jacob Carraz sort of stands out to me. I think he's got the base. I personally don't like centre wings that aren't in ceiling sides. I prefer especially for the run home. Carraz is more of a player that I would get in the season leading up, where I've got that solid base and can build around it. But I'm really looking for ceiling now, and I just don't think the Bulldogs offer that.
He's but the other thing too is that since he came back from that injury, he hasn't been the same player.
Yeah.
I think I avoided that. I avoided that one. I know a few jumped on Carraz because he was cheap at like 450k, but while he has the base, he's had no attacking stats at all this year since he's come back from injury. So
yeah,
I think that was a good avoid, but I wouldn't be jumping on any of them now.
I agree. I don't see anything either. Ponga's the only one of interest, and I don't think he doesn't play the bye round. And I think Ponga's someone you should have bought weeks ago as well. All right, we'll get to the Sea Eagles and the Roosters game, mate. We'll start with Sea Eagles, and we'll talk about Garrick first. So, what are you thinking?
I still think he's a hold at the moment.
Yeah.
Is he a season hold? Probably not. It really depends. I mean, he got 62 on the weekend. God knows how he got that. He updated from 47 to 62. I'm not sure still how that happened, but as an owner, I'll take it every day of the week. But look, it's at home at 4 Pines. I've got to say they've got some massive ins back in this week. Like Gerbo and Parker are massive ins for them.
Yeah.
Just tightens up that middle with Gerbo, and Parker's a bloody good defender. He really is.
He is, yeah.
Really good defender. Then they get Tuolangi back. They get Burbo back. Not that makes much difference, but I know they don't have Turbo, but I can really see Manly winning this one. I think they can probably win this comfortably too at 4 Pines as well, especially if DC has a decent game as well. But it's all going to depend on the 800k Schuster as well, what he does, because he was ordinary as crap last week in that game.
Yeah, so I think Garrick's a hold for now. He's a wait and see. But look, I own Meaney and Garrick, and I'm questioning both, to be honest. But I'm quite flush at centre wings. But I'll tell you who's interesting, I think, for the Roosters is Suwali. Playing out on the wing, I actually like Suwali points per dollar. I don't hate that. If you got a Billy Smith or a Schuster or even a Burbo and you want to offload and you got a little bit of coin to do, I don't hate Joseph Suwali. He'll likely goal kick, although with Sandon Smith in there, I'm not quite sure. So I would at least wait a week. And I would at least wait 2, actually. Wait till after the bye round. But if you're looking to trade down to someone, Suwali could actually be that 5th, 6th, 7th option if you need money elsewhere.
The other one potentially a buy too is Nat Butcher with all these forwards out for the Roosters.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've got Angus out for a few weeks. You've got Egan out. You've got Stachili out. So someone's going to have to step up.
Yeah. Well,
another interesting one could be Nathan Brown if he gets decent minutes too.
Yeah, Nat Butcher's out, mate. Egan Butcher's out. Satili's out and Gus is out.
Oh, wait, Nat's out too, is he?
Yeah.
So Nat and Egan are both out?
Yeah, they're both out.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Jeez, yeah. I knew Egan was out, but I didn't know.
Have you heard the second rowers? They've Victor Radley's one second rower.
Yeah.
And White.
Yeah, Nathan Brown as well, right?
No, Nathan Brown's lock. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I don't hate Nathan Brown. I mean, I don't know if I'd buy him because I don't think even starting his minutes will be consistent. But I just want to point something out here is that they've got Terrell May and Sire Wong on the bench. Wong could be a serious option.
Wong's a gun.
I just
can't believe it's taken him this long to make his debut. Like, I remember him ripping it up in in the trial games earlier in the year, and he's been ripping it up in New South Wales Cup too.
I see ducks and drakes here, Roscoe. So Victor Radley's named 11, Nathan Brown's named at 13, and Wong's on the bench. I reckon Wong comes into second row, Victor Radley moves back to 13, and Brown goes back to the bench.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
And if that does happen,
Unless
Satili's out for the season.
unless they put White back to the bench and Brown starts on an edge.
Do you know what? I was looking for, I'm not going to tell you. No, I will tell you, but don't beat me to it because we both play in the same draft. I'm going to buy Sia Wong in the draft. Just stick him on the bench. I won't do it now. I trust you. Don't jump on him.
Trust me. You shouldn't trust me.
I just think, well, I actually own Egan Butcher, Elise Katoa. And I just realised, you know who I'm playing this week in the draft?
Yeah.
You.
Oh, really? I better go and
I've got Moses out. I've got Elise Katoa. I've got Egan Butcher.
Well, hang on. I'm going to just jump on one quickly. Hang on.
But anyway, look, I don't think there's anyone there that's a buy. I think that Billy Smith's a sell.
Yeah.
That would be my only one. Look, Joseph Manu's a hold at the moment. I mean,
well, how long do you reckon he's a hold for?
Well, at the moment, based on the last two games and his rolling average, he's a hold until he's not. You know what I mean? At the moment, points per dollar and the money he's making, we're not going to sell. But I think he's one to watch. He could be a Manu to Holmes sale, or even a Manu up to a Munster if you've got him at 5'8", you know, or you know what I'm saying. So that could be it. And the other one that's a sell, obviously, is Schuster. Mate, Gordon Teller's come out and said he's the best second rower in the game. Surely he didn't think, you know, as a Queenslander about Fafita, right?
I had to have a laugh. I was having a chat with Dave London about this today, and we were talking about this. And the fact that Schuster's been offered $800K to play in the back row when he isn't even really playing that well. I mean, there's no guarantee he's going to start second row all of next season and the rest of his contract. Yeah. And then you've got a bloke like Nakora who's absolutely ripping it up on the same money, if not less than what he's on.
Yeah.
It's just, where is Manly getting this money from? They've just signed Luke Brooks for 4 years. They've just signed Tommy Talau. Like, where's all this money coming from? I don't understand. Like,
me either, mate.
Have they got the Mr. Sombrero over there now or something? I don't know. Like,
yeah, it's
it's an interesting one. What's your thoughts on Brooks signing with Manly? Because I actually thought he was actually playing okay at the end of the season, but
I think it'd be good for Brooks. Look, Brooks is a better player than people realise. He's just not a half. He's not the bloke that leads the side around. I mean,
he'll be good running off in DCE, running the ship in that team. But
absolutely.
But the thing is, don't forget, DCE's only got a year or two left on his contract.
Yeah, he'll
be gone after this season, which means that Brooks is then going to be the main playmaker.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's not getting any younger, and he's not playing. You know, he's not that sort of half that can control the team. He needs someone there with him to, you know, direct him.
I think a year under with DCE, and if Turbo does get back at the start of next season, I think the pressure will be off Brooksy, and he'll just play his natural running game. He's got a great little kicking game, a short kicking game, and a long kicking game, and he's got a great running game. If he doesn't have to control that side and the pressure's off him, the big money's off him, and he just can play rugby league and run, I think it's an actual great. Look, I
think so too. That's exactly what they said on the. I was watching the Matty Johns podcast last night with him and Cooper Cronk, and they said the same thing, that he goes there, he just plays natural game, and he doesn't have to worry about running the team because he's got Cherry Evans there to do that.
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
right.
Turbo there, you know, like this. He can just go there and play his game and not have to have all the weight on his shoulders and, you know, leading the team and having to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. So, all right, I'll get up to the viewers' questions. We've got a couple of questions on here, Roscoe.
Yep.
Let me have a look at these. So the first one's from Alan Fisher. He says, since Nakora has been benched, is it a best to go Brayley or another hooker like Grant? We've really kind of discussed that, haven't we?
Probably just go Grant.
Yeah, Grant. If you're going to go Nikorima, go to Grant. He's got a 77 break-even Nikorima from memory, and Grant's got a 30. So, but look, that's if you're flush with numbers. If you're light for numbers for the bye round, hold him, mate. He will play 80 minutes in the bye round because Hammer will be out. You know, I think that he will slot into the fullback role in that period. Travis Bishkoff asks, a fullback or a 5'8" to bring in? I have Gutho and Buller, Ponga and Walker. I have Gutho and Buller, Ponga and Walker. Don't want to risk losing dollars on Buller before upgrading. Mate, I'd be holding that.
Oh, I wouldn't be trading either of them. No. Hold for now, Trevor. I mean, Buller might lose. I know Buller's got a break even at 90, but he does play around 19. I guess it all depends on Gangland if they're punt head to head or overall as
Absolutely.
well. So
Yeah.
Trev, if you're punt overall hold, punt head to head, yeah, maybe look at bringing in Munster or even
Drinkwater.
Trinky. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate that. So I'm an overall player. I own Gutho, I own Buller, and I own Walker, but I've got Manu as my other 5'8". So that's the only difference there. Cody and AJ to Mulatalo. Cody and AJ to Mulatalo and CNK would mean moving Manu to 5'8" to pair with Munster. South struggling without Trell and Warriors draw is exceptional. Look, if you're a head-to-head player, I don't hate the thinking behind it, but I wouldn't be selling Cody. I do agree with AJ. What do you think? To Mulatalo, I like Mulatalo. CNK's point chasing.
I think AJ to Mulatalo is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but in saying that, Cody had a really off game on the weekend. Okay, that was probably the worst game he's played all season.
Yeah.
Cody's a man who feeds AJ a lot of ball.
Yeah.
But in saying that, Souths have still got a couple more buys to come. Sharks don't. They're done now after round 19. Oh no, they're playing round 19. Sorry, my bad. I think they've got no more buys left. Sharks, is that correct? I think.
They don't have Titans and Sharks.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah.
So I like the AJ and Mulatalo trade. The Cody trade out, I'm not too sure, and I'll give Cody another week. It was just one bad off game for him.
Yeah, I agree. I would.
They do play the Warriors though, and he does have a tendency to play well against the top teams. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he bounces back and gets a decent score this week.
The next one's from Michael Natlia, and he says, "Would you sell Garrick? He has a massive break even, which is 172 from memory. So it says it right there, 172. So or keep until the end. I'm holding. Ross
depends on who you're trading him to.
And it depends on who you do or don't have. Look, I think Garrick to Holmes could be a play.
That's a beautiful trade for me. Garrick to Holmes is a beautiful trade. I think not only is Holmes to keep it till the end, not sure if Garrick is. Also, too, you've got to remember Garrick's playing this week. May go okay.
Yeah, that's
but I could see Val easily turning up this week. So I think if you're doing that trade, I think you're going to end up ahead in the long run as well.
Just on that, the Tigers have only let in 2 100 scores for Supercoach. So the Tigers are actually a really good defending side of Supercoach points. But Drinkwater is an exceptional player. So I don't mind Garrick to Drinkwater. I wouldn't mind Garrick to Holmes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be trading down to someone to go.
No, I wouldn't be downgrading. No, definitely not.
Yeah. Is it viable to hold Teddy or better going to a centre wing such as Mulatalo or Gutho or Drinky?
Maybe you should ask Timmy O this question because he only traded him Teddy last week and now he's talking about trading him out already.
Yeah, I would have touched
him. Gosh, it's a hard one, Glenn.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time after he played the Bayern round 16, he came out and ripped it up for the Roosters and turned up. But then the game on the weekend, he was terrible. He just looked disinterested and I don't know what to say about him. I think Teddy gets picked for the third Origin and he plays, but I think that could be maybe his last game of Origin. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I don't know. I know he won't probably have the captaincy next year. It's a bit hard for Freddie to drop a player who's the captain.
He'll play this.
But I think they'll give him one more go. But as for trade, gosh, I don't know. It's a hard one, Glenn.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, trades. This would depend on how many trades you have, and if you're an overall head-to-head player again. If you just bought him in, I wouldn't be selling him straight away. But I personally wouldn't be touching Tedesco at the moment. He's just not Teddy. Roosters are mud at the moment. And look, I hate saying that. My son's a Rooster supporter, and I want them to do well, but they just aren't. I mean, Manu. We're legitimately talking about moving Manu to fullback. Such is the issue with Tedesco. You know what I mean? The
problem is if they move Manu to fullback, Teddy's got nowhere to go in that team.
That's right.
You can't play him anywhere else.
No, I agree.
You can't play him in the halves. You can't play him in the centres. You can't play him on the wing. So he's either got to be fullback or he's not on the team. And I can't see Robbo doing that. I mean, I don't know how many years he's got left on his contract. He's still got a couple of years to go. It's the Roosters, I think, anyway.
Yeah, that's right. He has.
So
he's got 2 more.
I just think the confidence is not there, and he's playing in a team that's not playing well. I mean, it doesn't help. The pressure. He's the captain. The pressure's on him. And when your team's not performing, he's going out there and trying his hardest, but he's just not. Things just aren't clicking for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not good for Teddy. Look, I love Tedesco. He's one of my favourite players.
I love him as a player. I hated it when he left the Tigers, but I still love watching him as a player. I really do.
And he's been super coach gold for us for
Yeah.
right up until this year. I can understand people, jumping on or jumping off. I wouldn't hate going to Drinkwater. I wouldn't hate going to one of the buy round players. I think it'll work out well for him.
I don't mind Teddy to Mulatalo or Teddy to Drinkwater.
Yeah, either of them.
I don't mind those two trades, or Teddy to Val.
Yeah.
Even two, but
I like Mulatalo trade a lot.
Yeah.
Specifically because they play Dragons this week and Tigers next. All right, mate. Let's move to the all-important questions. Firstly, who are you trading in this week, Oscar?
So at the moment, it's Walsh and Peachy out, and it's Drinky in, and the other trade in will either be IPAP or Pecora. I'm not sure yet. It depends.
I like both of those.
Depends if I want to go for the safety of IPAP or just go to Pecora and bank some more cash, so I can make another upgrade next week.
Well, based on the fact that we've got, Cleary coming back, there's a few players coming back that you're going to want that are going to be priced up. I don't hate the Pecora shout at all.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all, but I also like the IPAP shout. All right, and so for me this week, I'm going Perham to Mulatalo and possibly Nikorima to Grant. I haven't completely sold on the idea, but they're my two trades this week. And vice captain options, mate.
It'll obviously be Hines into Drinky. I'd say most likely for me.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going
pretty much lock and
see.
load it. So
I'm going to Melbourne this week. I won't be able to watch any of the games. I've gone the whole weekend, so I'm just going to throw the C straight at my man for the only game I get to watch, Heinze, and see how that plays out for me. And and then no vice captain, just straight C. Vice captain on the Cora.
I think there's going to be plenty putting the C straight on Hines. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not high. Pretty high up. I haven't checked it lately, but I'm sure it will be. It
will be. And I think based on players like Schuster in my side, and at the moment Mould's running. So I've been using him as my enough player. I've got Moali
too. He's going to be a handy number for round 19 too.
Yeah, he is. He actually brings me up to 17 again after selling Nikorima, so I don't hate that. Yeah. Anything else we need to discuss, Ross? Or we got it all covered?
No, I think that's it. That's it for this week. See how we go, and hopefully hit up some more hits and green arrows this week.
Yeah, well, hopefully, mate. You're doing better. You're doing not too bad this week.
I'm still sitting around 7K. It's not great, but
yeah, mate.
I'm hoping I can, because I'm pretty well stacked up for round 19. I'm hoping I can make up some decent numbers next week. So
yeah, me too.
So we'll see how we go.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Ross. For those that don't know, he runs the Off the Bench podcast, and we run the Tragic podcast. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll catch you up next week.
Thank you.
So you want to be a champion? Oh no! Now the knee. Well, that was it. Manu, what's he done there? He sold the dummy with a knee injury. It's a fake knee injury. Manu's set up and thrown for Momirovski.
It's the next tackle. He gets an offload. He goes back and gets the football. Probably feels a cramp coming on in the back of his calf. And then just takes off.
Oh, what a beauty. So, you pick which has been the better moment. The bloke kicking the ball back from the traffic at the southern end, or Manu, the cramp, the fibber, and takes off to set up a try.